Ah, there you are. How delightfully punctual. It seems you've tuned into this little data stream just in time. Time for a taste of what awaits you in Season 2 of Nightmares from the Future. Yes, I'm talking about fresh, unsettling terrors starting November 1st, and from then on every Friday we'll be unleashing new nightmares. And there's a twist this season. Not only will you be able to hear the horror, but you'll be able to see it too. Each episode will be available on YouTube, enhanced with visuals to send chills down your spine, because what's a good story if it doesn't crawl under your skin? But for now, let me give you something to chew on. An appetizer, if you will. A tale perfect for Halloween. You know, some say the harvest is a season of life, but in this town, it's a season of death. I present to you the Harvest Man.
The festival began as it did every year, on the last Sunday of September. The town square was alive with the sound of children laughing, the low hum of chatter, and the smell of roasting meats and fresh pies. Every storefront and lamppost was adorned with garlands of dried corn, pumpkins, and hay bales. At the center of it all stood a towering effigy, the Harvest Man. The Harvest Man was an unsettling sight. Standing 10 feet tall, his body was crafted from dried corn stalks and bound together with twisted vines. His face, a hollowed-out gourd, was carved into a hideous grin, with eyes that seemed to follow you wherever you went. In one hand, he held a sickle, fashioned from breast and metal, and in the other, a bundle of wheat. For most, the effigy was just a tradition, a harmless relic of the town's agricultural roots. But for the older families of Harrington Valley, the Harvest Man was a symbol of something far more sinister. A pact made long ago, when the town was on the brink of starvation. According to legend, the town's founders had prayed for salvation, and in the dead of night, a figure had appeared in the fields. A towering man with eyes like burning coals, offering them a deal. He would grant them fertile land and bountiful harvests, but every year, they must honor him with a sacrifice. The elders were always careful to select the offering, usually a sickly animal or a parcel of their crops, and leave it at the foot of the effigy on the night of the festival. It was a tradition, steeped in fear and superstition. But it had worked. The crops never failed, and the town thrived. This year, however, something had gone wrong. The night after the festival, the offering, a slaughtered lamb, was found torn apart, its pieces scattered around the base of the effigy. The townspeople were unnerved, but their elders assured them it was a fluke, perhaps a wild animal. But as the days passed, strange things began to happen. Crops started to wither overnight, turning black and rotting on the vine. Livestock disappeared from their pens, only to be found mutilated in the fields. The once cheerful children spoke of nightmares, where a tall man with a sickle roamed the town, harvesting more than just crops. The final straw came when Emily Thompson, a young mother, found her infant son missing from his crib one morning. His search party was quickly assembled, but the mood was one of grim resignation. They all knew where to look. They found the baby at the edge of the cornfield, nestled at the foot of the Harvest Man. The effigy's grin seemed wider, more sinister, as if it were laughing at their pain. The baby was unharmed, but eerily silent. his eyes wide with a fear no infant should know. The town was in uproar. The elders met in secret, arguing heatedly over what to do. Some wanted to burn the effigy, to end the cursed tradition once and for all. But others warned that breaking the pact could bring even worse consequences. In the end, they decided to make a greater offering. A bowl, the largest and healthiest they could find, hoping it would appease the harvest man. But the next morning, the bowl was gone, and in its place, they found the corpse of one of the elders. His body twisted and broken, as if dropped from a great height. The realization hit them all at once. The harvestman was no longer satisfied with mere animals. He wanted blood. Panic gripped the town as more people went missing. The harvestman was no longer just a symbol. It was real, stalking the fields and woods, picking off those who dared to stray too far from the safety of their homes. Every night, the town was filled with the sound of rustling corn and the distant scrape of metal against stone, as the harvestman hunted for his next victim. Desperation led to madness. Families locked themselves in their homes, leaving offerings of food and valuables on their doorsteps, praying it would be enough. But the harvestman didn't care for their trinkets. He wanted more. One by one, the townspeople disappeared, until only a handful remained. Those who survived gathered in the church, the only place they thought might be safe. The old building creaked under the weight of their fear, the stained glass windows casting eerie, shifting colors across the piers. The night was silent, save for the faint rustling outside. Then they heard it. A slow, deliberate scraping, like metal dragging across the stone. The church door shuddered as something pushed against it. The survivors huddled together, praying silently, as the door began to splinter and crack. With a deafening crash, the door gave way, and the harvestman entered. His eyes glowed like hot coals in the darkness, his sickle gleaming in the moonlight. He moved with a terrible grace. The vines and corn stalks that made up his body rustled as he advanced, his sickle slicing through the air as the church filled with screams that echoed across the valley. By morning, the once thriving town of Harrington Valley was silent. The fields empty, the houses abandoned. All that remained was the harvestman, standing tall in the center of the town, his gored face still grinning as if mocking the destruction he had wrought. His work was done, for now. But as the leaves began to fall and the chill of autumn deepened, the harvestman waited, for he knew that as long as the fields grew and the crops ripened, there would always be more to harvest.
And just like that, another harvest reaped. The harvestman has collected what he's owed, but don't get too comfortable. Remember, the nightmares are just beginning. Mark your calendars for November 1st, when Season 2 officially begins. Every Friday after, a fresh terror will be waiting for you to uncover. And for those brave enough to watch the fear unfold, our episodes will also lurk on YouTube, visuals to help the shadows take shape. Until then, Lock your doors, stay out of the cornfields, and beware what lurks in the dark. I'll be seeing you soon. Very soon.
The Nightmares from the Future podcast is produced by Digital Bros Creative Studios, LLC. Our production team is Christopher Pilone and Mike Nemasian. This audio program is copyright 2024 by Digital Bros Creative Studios, LLC. All rights reserved. The copyrights for each story are held by respective authors. No duplication or reproduction of this audio program is permitted without the written consent by Digital Bros Creative Studios, LLC.